Hello, this is a video talking about the Doctor Sleep trailer by Stephen King. It's a book by Stephen King, rather. The movie made by Mr. Flaherty, I believe that's his name. Anyway, having listened to the audiobook of it and then seeing all of what Stephen King has said to bash on The Shining through the years, I find the trailer to be really ironic and not in a good way. Here it is, some movie he's bashed for years and years and years, and the portrayal and the scenes and the yada yada yada. The trailer is just, Doctor Sleep trailer is just stashed with recreations, or I actually think they're the real scenes, but people are saying that they're recreations from The Shining. Sure, he's not in charge of the Warner Brothers marketing department, but he signs off on everything that he's involved with, and it's just, oh, you don't like the movie that was made of your book, huh? Well, how are you going to sell the sequel to that? You're going to go ahead and put images and specific references to the events of said movie that you didn't like the portrayals of the people in it, of specifically Jack Nicholson. I don't understand. I mean, probably in 2 years from this, he'll say, "Oh, I didn't like anything about Doctor Sleep. They just did this and this and that, and they broke their word with me." Where really, he's probably giving his word, as disingenuous as that is, just as he was saying he gave his word to Stanley Kubrick back in the day. And he wasn't vocal about all this stuff when The Shining was getting made. It's only years later, and after, swallowing his words and, bathing himself in alcohol and cocaine as he did, that this even took on a life of its own about all the hatred towards The Shining. Because he knows where his bread is buttered, I mean, the better the movie did for him, the more money he made, and the better this Doctor Sleep direct does, then the better it does for him. Now, I think the audiobook and the story of Doctor Sleep is just totally bizarre. And bringing it to the big screen is just, they're basically making it a G-rated version. I don't know what Stephen King's trying to get at in that book, but it's beyond X-rated, the stuff that's being talked about in that. So yeah, this trailer kind of makes it almost seem like a light fantasy, almost. That's about it, really. I mean, I'm not really happy with his attitude. I don't really think, them saying that they got the blessing of the Kubrick estate and the blessing of Mr. King, that does nothing for me. So I'll be on an island all I want with this. I think it's kind of ridiculous. And basically, to market the movie, I knew that they were going to either have to call it Shining 2, the Doctor Sleep, or load the trailer with images from the original so that people could put together their stupid minds around what this is. I don't think it's a good idea for them to have made this movie. I thought it was 2-3 years back, before Stephen King was a hot commodity now, but now that he's a hot commodity again, this is getting released after Halloween as well, so I mean after Halloween, the holiday. Anyway, that's about it. I don't really care too much more about that, except to say I think he's really a hypocrite. He's always saying that anyone can option his books and anyone can do this and that. It's like, no, only the people that are going to be glad-handing to him, and then once they've glad-handed it to him enough, and they realize that the glad-handed version that they're going to make of his work is not going to sell, then they go ahead and add images from something that he despises so that they can market the movie better. Confusing chain of events. Hope he can come up with some other non-sequel related good books, because he's really hurting for that in recent years, as genius as he's been. And maybe one day there'll be a book or a movie about how he actually came up with all these stories, like what entity has possessed him to do these works of greatness, and horror movies and books. But until then, he just seems very all over the place with his impressions about how these movies are adapted and what he wants from his own books. And I don't really think that he even knows for sure. He's just, bashes our president left and right, and then goes ahead and bashes whatever filmmaker he thinks gave him a slight. And then he bashes himself when he makes a great movie like Maximum Overdrive. So, bye for now. Shabbat Shalom.